Rosy Hardy Gardening here. Remember, during the winter time and you are going out and visiting gardens, some may be for snowdrops, but remember to go and look at other things within that garden, because there is still so much to see and so much to learn in beautifully planted gardens. We're going to go and have a little tour around and see what this garden looks like in the middle of winter. This is a brilliant time to be exploring these gardens because you can see what the structure is and how it has evolved and what happens when it gets filled up with the flowers later on in the year. Let's go and take a look. We're at this little garden here, which is raised brick beds. And then you've got paving going down through the middle and this amazing rill. And rill and water is fabulous. So you've got water in this tank, and when this is running, the water is dribbling over the edge of this bit of metal here, and then it goes down and the rill, and then it gets pumped back up again. Very, very simple. You don't have to make these things difficult, but it's lovely. It doesn't matter that you've got new brick and old stone, because you've got all these thymes and these low growing plants growing in here. Alchemilla is allowed to self-seed, so is the Erigeron carvinskianus, and then you've got all sorts of other types of alliums, and they're offset by these wonderful big round bits of box and the dark green hedge here, and it just all works really, really well. And the beauty of something this height is that you can get into it, you can get any weed out that you want to, and you can just replant as you get certain bits of gaps or something like that. One thing I really, really love about the end of the rill here is this beautiful planter with the sempervivans in it. Just simple, and they're sitting on some bricks. That's the easy way of making sure that your planters are free draining and not going to get waterlogged. So that's the first little place that we have. Then we will move and we will go round, and you go through these gates, and this is a privet hedge. Very few people use privet these days, but it's a wonderful evergreen hedge and it clips really, really well. Good alternative if you've got box blight. Then you have this completely different garden here. This is the parterre area. This is where you've got a mixture of edibles, herbs, and some bulbs all together. And it works really, really well. Easy to get through, good height, lovely solid bits of wood. And right at the back here, one of my favourite plants, Cynara or globe thistle. And the heads, leave them on through the winter. They look really, really great. Just be careful when these fall over and hit you on the head, they hurt. I know from experience. And then you have the wonderful grey foliage that is here, and it all looks really, really good. And this is just architecture. It is the bones without having to worry about anything else, and the plants are all just starting to come through and come back to life. We've moved to a really simple lot of planting, and I really love this one because Nepeta is one of my favourites. If you can't grow lavender, then have Nepeta as your beds. Absolutely brilliant for pollinators, and at this time of the year you've still got a bit of growth there, but you can have it as a hedge all the way around. You plant it right the way through. This is the most beautiful lavender colour, keeps on flowering right the way through the summer. Got 4 beds here full of it, roses behind, fruit trees in the middle, and it just looks absolutely fantastic. In amongst this there are some other herbaceous, but the main ground cover in here is just Nepeta. And once it's started to regrow, you can cut it even lower than this and it splits easily. So that is a great, simple, just a beautiful cover that hums and buzzes with the bees. In this little area, just to make it different fencing around the edge, beautiful salvias, penstemons, just left as they should be to overwinter with all this growth here. You can see it's getting battered by the wind, it's blowing, and keeping all of this growth up like this really helps protect these plants. And you will then have seedlings coming through as well. Coming through from there, you go into a parterre area, and that's just simple. And you get two different forms. You get seeing it through this wonderful fencing and it looks really good, or conversely, you have it without anything around it, and it changes how you view that type of clipped box. And then you can put all sorts of wonderful summer flowering plants in underneath. You've got box, you've got you, and it's a very simple thing. Then if we move over and come out of this bit of the garden, you will see that it's again really beautiful. And you've got the hydrangeas just all sitting there. Hydrangeas and salvias mixed together, underplanting under there. But in the sunlight and the winter sunlight, look at those hydrangea heads. They still give you interest. So this idea of cutting everything down, giving it a tidy up in the winter, no, wait until the spring, because this is going to give you a load of interest right the way through, and none of these plants want anything cutting off them until you get to probably mid-March, and then it will look really good. This beautiful round garden has a centerpiece of this old mill wheel, and it's lovely to have centerpieces. It gives you something to focus on, and from here you can go up the steps and further that way into the lovely wooden summer house over there, or back up through the gates to some grass. And in these beds, Matolia. This will look fantastic and smell divine in the summer. Beautiful white scented flowers, really great. And then you have this majestic beech tree just coming over the top like a canopy. So this is going to be shaded later on, but at this time of the year, all of the plants in here are getting the light that they need and then getting the shade later in the year, which is what they want as well. And it just makes for a really beautiful, different type of feeling. You then end up coming through and going down the steps into a dell, past huge big clumps of cyclamen, hellebores. This is what everybody thinks of as winter gardens, and really beautiful, but they are managing to grow beautifully underneath the roots of this big beech. And you've got these lovely flowers all sitting here. You can go up, you can come down, beautiful sunken, you walk off round to some beautiful big herbaceous borders. Having gone around this garden and seen all of the different places, the little rooms and all of that type of thing, you can understand that some of this you can take home and you could do in your own garden. I hope it just gives you an idea of how to look at gardens when they're not full of flower, but they are their bare bones, and what the structure is that then enhances all of the planting that you put in. Thank you very much for watching, and please do subscribe to the channel.